Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of me disassembling things that I can't find that much information on elsewhere online. So today we have a SoundCore Boost A3145, I think that is. Yeah, 1345, which is your very common run-of-the-mill rechargeable Bluetooth speaker. This particular one has some bent pins in its micro USB port, and I just wanted to sort of record and run through how I've gotten to it, because it was not... I mean, it was fairly straightforward, but it wasn't immediately apparent which parts come apart in which order, and having some knowledge of what you're doing will probably help you get things apart much easier, much quicker than I did. So, from the top, I will use this other example speaker I have here conveniently to just show off how to get the bottom foot off, which is this piece of rubber here. So to get it off, I just pried along. So this is the top of the device, this is the bottom of the device. I just pried along this line here. I think it didn't really matter too much where you start, but I just sort of got a pry tool in there and started prying slowly. So you'll want to pry initially a little bit down towards the foot, because you want to get sort of under the foot and in between the foot and this hard piece of plastic. Pardon me. So you'll want to go sort of under and down a little bit. And once you're under there, you're then going to be fighting, you can hear it, all this adhesive. So you've got these three large pads and then these dots in between, and you can see how I've kind of stabbed and cut them a little bit, and that's how I got it off. So we obviously got the pry tool under there and then just started wrangling it around to try and cut through the adhesive and get the foot off. Once the foot is off, you are then presented with 8 screws on the bottom of this piece of plastic, which would be those 8 ones there. And he just clips in like this, if you can sort of see that there. So to get it out, all you do, take the screws out and then pry up one of these ends. Obviously it's not sat flush at the moment, but it's getting, there we go, that's relatively flush. So you just pry in here. Come on, can't do it with one hand, but you pry in there and then get it up. And now I'm going to struggle to get it off again. There we go. One thing to keep in mind is that at this end, the end with your ports on, you have got the cable leading to the battery, so you don't want to stab or cut that by accident, and you will have to disconnect it when this comes out. So you'll want to make sure to pull it out in a direction where you can get at the port for it, which is down there on the far right, or the second one in from the far right that's empty. Let me just point to it rather than trying to describe that. This one here. So with that foot off and out the way, we then move. Well, at that point, if you're doing a battery replacement, you can just replace the battery. You're a very lucky person. You don't have to go through the pain of getting this off. Getting this off is a bit more tricky. Ultimately, it is just, I think, 8 screws. So you can see, actually I'll explain that in a moment. So there's 8 screws, which I believe are in these corners here, and if focus please, yeah, in these corners. And then there's also, so there's 8 on the top, and then I think there's another 8 down the other side, which, once again, focus please. I can't really make them out. Oh, you can sort of see one of them down there. I think they mirror their counterparts on the top side. So basically you're looking the same locations, but just on the bottom. And the reason we're looking for those is because they go through this casing plastic and into these little rubber plastic mounts, screw holes, whatever you want to call them, on the outer fabric. So when with those screws all out, so there's, I think, 16 in total, 8 and 8, he says. Yeah, I think that'd be 16. Then you want to start trying to pry this off. It doesn't appear like there's really anything sort of sticky holding it on. It does seem like it's just the the screws. So what you may need to do, or what I had to do, was pry the center bit up. So when you're prying, you've got these speaker modules on the front and these, like, whatever they are on the back, or back and front as well. So you'll want to be very careful of prying around them and not to stab them and damage them. But with that in mind, I started in the middle, created a bit of space because it seemed to have more give in the middle, and then worked my way along round to the corner and used that space a little bit to just ping off one of these ends. I don't think which end you start with really matters. You just need to get one of them off. I started with the end on the back because then the mild scuffing from the pry tools would be less noticeable. But to get it off, I had to sort of pry. I think it was in this sort of way. I'm afraid I can't really demonstrate that well, but I sort of levered off the hard plastic of the case and just put a lot of force behind it to just ping these out. Bearing in mind that you're prying sort of away from it, so you're not prying to the left, you're prying away from it in whichever direction. So if we're taking this corner off, we're prying away towards me or behind the camera, because you're trying to get this foot or this that little mount there, this little mount here, to come in this direction. So you're prying it this way. You're not prying to the side, you're prying this way. But once that's off, you then just go around getting all the little, I'm going to keep calling these feet, getting the little feet out, and eventually the whole thing comes loose. It's not easy. You have to put in a lot of force, and some things may snap a little bit, but it'll work. You'll do it. I believe in you. And once that's out, then you can take out these speaker modules, which is just 4 screws on the front. You can see the holes from there, and then you just sort of pop them out, because they really do just sit in like this. So you pop them out. I believe the actual speaker terminals go at the top, so if you're wondering which way they go in when you're reassembling, I think that's how. Then, if you haven't already, you should take out the screws that hold this PCB onto the plastic casing, because you'll need to maneuver this PCB out the way. I got it to sit sideways and push into this corner a bit more, and that gave space for our prize, the what's it called, the sort of IO, I guess, or the charging port board over here, or module, to finally come free. So with this PCB maneuvered out the way, I was able to shuffle this one out too. I think it had 4 screws as well, actually. Yeah, you can see there's 2 there and 2 on the other side. Those screws came out, then we were able to get the module to just shuffle back a little bit and drag it out. With the module out, you now have to get access to the board within that module, which you'd think it would be quite easy, but it is not. There's all this horrible glue on it, which is probably there as waterproofing, but you've got to get that out, or you have to do something about that to drag the module out, because there's nothing that I can see, at least, holding the module in other than this glue and the cables. So what you'll need to do, or what I've done, is I have used some hot air from my lovely hot air station over here, at, if I can turn it on, it will tell us, I think it was about 200 degrees at 50% airflow? Yeah, 200 degrees at 50% airflow, to just melt down the glue. So we applied it to the back quite generously, and straight on the front, right into the ports, and that melted it down. And once it's melted, you can then just sort of pull this out with relatively little resistance. To get it back in, I'm probably going to have to melt it again, which isn't great, but I will manage. Is there anything else I was going to add? Yeah, using the hot air to pull it out, which was fair enough. Getting it all back together will be a challenge for later, once a new USB port has been ordered, so stay tuned for that. Or I won't upload that, you can just do this process in reverse. You're a smart cookie, you can do that. But any other notes. Obviously doing this will ruin your waterproofing, so if you were concerned at all about the waterproofing, then this probably isn't the path to go for. But I think that's everything. Yeah, getting this USB port off isn't going to be the easiest. I mean, here is some nice footage of what the USB port looks like. If you plan on ordering one before doing this repair, yours may look a bit different. This is how mine looks. I'm going to go on eBay and get one now, maybe 2 or 3 just in case. And likewise, here are the other ports. If you were thinking of replacing one of them, you may be able to get this entire module off eBay. In fact, I'll have to check, because if it's cheap, it would be a lot easier. But only if some enterprising individual is tearing these things apart and selling them. So I think that's everything, really. I suppose the rest of the internals on the right side there, you've got some sort of antenna for Bluetooth probably, or NFC maybe, or that might actually go against the top, so probably Bluetooth. Yeah, then I think that's everything. So thank you for listening to me waffle on. Hopefully some of the advice and some of what you've seen in this video might help you with your repair process. If you have questions, do leave comments. I will try and answer them if I can. But yes, overall, not an, I wouldn't call it an easily repairable device, but it is repairable. It's just requires a bit of effort. Yeah. Alrighty, everybody. Goodbye.